Hi, what exactly comes to your mind if I ask you what sensational occasion happened to this world in 1918? I know lots of guesses like the end of World War II may cross your head. However, I'm talking about one of the generous person in the world, a person who was born just 71 day after the World War II in a very small village in South Africa. A person who served 27 years and out of 95 years of his life in prison. He was a social rights activist, philanthropist, and even the president of South Africa for years. I think you have guessed correctly who I'm talking about. He was Nelson Mandela. Many people support his ideology, but there are some conflict ideas. But today I would like to talk about the three of his many virtues. First, courage. Second, compromise. And third, justice. So let me start with the first virtue, which is the courage. This virtue is a significant part of Mandela's personality. It's the strength to move forward and face every challenge and fear. Despite opposition from powerful groups, he was always confident to be himself and risk his life and stand for human rights. For instance, in 1948, the African or National Political Party took power in South Africa and began its apartheid policy of racial segregations, which it is geographically segregated non-white people and forcibly prevented them from having a voice, a vote, education, medical care, and these stuff. So to stand against this racist movements by apartheid, he became the leader of the ANC or the African National Congress. So and he began campaign against these apartheids. One of the bloodiest incidents which happened in 1960 when about 70 when they opened fire on like 7,000 people and killed like 69 of them. In response, they decided to the movements with armed wing. So he traveled internationally and raised money for an armed struggle. So they carried out sabotage designed to destroy the government without killing the civilians. But in two trials in 1960 and 1963, Mandela was found guilty and spent almost 27 years of his life in prison. So he could have stayed quiet and not interfere against apartheid, but instead he engaged in many discussions and debates even when he was in prison. So now let's talk about the second virtue, which is the compromise. Compromise is an agreement which people involved in the negotiations to reduce their demands and the idea of making an agreement. So as a strategy, it will allow both sides to achieve better outcomes by satisfying their interests. So Nelson Mandela played this virtue in a very honest way when he won the first all race elections in 1994. So under the deal negotiated with the de Klerk, one of the white South African politicians, he allowed his cabinets to include white parties in the government. By honest negotiation with white parties, he kept his country together at a very bad days. He had the power to humiliate the white people or kill them as they did, but instead he shook hands with the leaders and negotiated with them to make his country together. So after talking about the virtue of compromise, let me focus on the virtue of justice. In a very simple definition, I could say that justice is a moral virtue when every individual's rights are secure. Nelson Mandela was a person who believed in a wider world, so he stand against discrimination for years and make a clear path that we do not have to accept the world what it is. We have to make the world what it should be. So once Barack Obama also said that Nelson Mandela was the symbol of the struggles in the world and in South Africa. He was fully aware how global warming had already been causing havoc in his continent. So he started working by cultural leaders around the world, including President of US Jimmy Carter and former United Nations Chief Kofi Annan. So indeed, he fought for reducing the greenhouse, not just for reducing the greenhouse and or gas emission, but also about the protection of these people around. So he didn't need to worry about the beauty of nature in the last years of his life, but he fought deeply and organized a strategy with other leaders for climate justice. To summarize my argument, today I've tried to focus on three virtues of Nelson Mandela: courage, compromise, and justice. A great-hearted person who stands against every individual he believed and put 27 of years in prison. Thank you.